Hello. I'm having uh, maybe some other. So that's a great way to start. Sorry. Thanks everyone for watching. I hope that you can see me because again I'm having some technical difficulties with the internet, but that's fine. We'll see what happens. Oh look, this is me. No. All right. So today, okay. So welcome again for to the live stream from home. Just a quick introduction. We are nobody's able to go anywhere and meet in person. That's normally often what I try to do. So instead of doing that, I thought I would just live stream wherever whatever I would be doing from home at the time. And it seems like it's going to be mostly every week on Wednesday, 10 a.m. But you never know. For this episode, let's call it an episode. I want to go through a sample that I was building through the other two episodes and adding some tests. Actually, just one test. And so this probably needs a little more explanation. So last two episodes was building this sample. A lot of people are. I'm kind of the resident expert on state management in terms of Flutter, and we are often asked about like, okay, so it's great to have state management, but what if I have? It's great to have state management. Let's talk about how we can do something like an infinite list, which means I I want people to be able to paginate through my catalog of something, and I want them to be able to scroll up and down and getting the items that they would normally see in like an infinite or arbitrarily large list of things. By the way, hello Harsh Joshi, hello Dragon Mr. Black, and Khaled and Mehmet. Thanks for saying hi, because it's always great to know that I'm not just like talking to a camera. Um, all right, so we have this, and this is I think it's an okay sample. It's still not in the sample repository, and the reason it isn't is I have not added any test, and so let's see the samples repo. So it's GitHub Flutter samples, right? And there's a bunch of samples, and we obviously want all of them to work for everyone. So if someone just wants to download something, and if they find a sample that is stale, which means it doesn't work anymore because something changed about the SDK, because like some of these are really old. Like I think the provider counter sample that I made, well, it's not that old, but some of it is like at least a year old. Some other samples are way. I think this one is very. We could find probably parts of it that are really old. Come on, now when I'm trying to 2 years, right? So unless you have some continuous integration, some continuous testing of these samples, then it's very easy for you to overlook that, oh, we actually changed something in the last 2 years and this no longer works. So that's why even for something like as simple as a sample, you need some testing. And the thing about testing samples is you can't really. Oh, by the way, I'm showing something on the screen and you don't see it. Ugh. And streaming is hanging. That's terrible. I'm sorry. I don't know how to fix this. Oh. That's very frustrating. I have no idea how to make the internet go better. Like everything here is green. Anyway, so yeah. Well, I hope it'll get better. It sometimes just improves itself. If this is terrible, I will completely understand if you just say goodbye, and I'm not going to look at that. And I should probably be recording these things. I'm a little scared to start recording now, but maybe I should. All right, I'm recording this. So worst case scenario, at least we have some kind of I think. All right. So anyway, so we are here at the sample. It's I've started documenting some things. I should probably git commit add comments. This is really. I'm going to make a PR out of this. So just the commit messages don't need to make much sense because they will all be squished into one. But what we want to do now is to create a smoke test. So what is a smoke test? It is something that will not it will not verify one part of the app. It will not verify the what just happened. It will not verify the like the whole integration of the app. It will basically verify that the app somehow works and compiles, and that's what you want for a simple sample, right? We could write tests for this sample, like unit tests for this sample, but to be honest, the business logic here is not really that hard, and it's by design, right? Like you don't want to create a sample that explains stuff while being like super complex and having a lot of business logic that is not really explaining what you're trying to say. Here I'm trying to say, how do you create an infinite list like this, right? So yeah, we are gonna, I'm reading about how it's going on YouTube, and thank you, Khalid, for cheering me on. So this is cool. All right, we are going to right. So that's unit tests, right? Unit tests would say something like, oh, does this work the way we expected? Basically, trying to figure out if this line is okay, right? Not really worth the effort for a sample app. On the other hand of the spectrum, we could try to install, build and install this device somewhere in a continuous development, a continuous integration way, and just test that everything works, everything including just build of Flutter and stuff like this. That's also too much, or like too far away from a sample app, because if most often if things wouldn't work, it's not because of the sample going stale, but it's because of some other issues, right? So we want to kind of trust the Flutter SDK and everything around it, the Android SDK, that it kind of works. What we want to test is that things are okay. And then there is the let's not unit test it, let's just analyze it, analyze the code for warnings and errors, static analysis, which I think we're doing anyway, but and it will catch most of the staleness, right? Like if, for example, let's say Flutter decides to remove the scaffold widget, which would be bad, then by just not having it there, we will see it will be caught by the Dart analysis, right? Like there's no class called scaffold. What are you trying to do here? And so it gets us says this as a text, and find one widget that says this. Is it necessary? I don't know. maybe. And it should find no widget that says color number 1. I think that's how it should look like. And then we can just wait. But first, let's just keep this very simple. Oh, damn it. I'm sorry. I see that the stream is down again. And as I said, it's okay. So it's back to normal now, but I'm really sorry. I don't have a way to fix this right now. I am recording though. So yeah, let's see if this works. If we run it again, like this, exactly one matching node in the widget tree. Oh, we won't find. Finds n widgets. Right, so we expected just one, and it saw more than one, so now it should be more. Oh, right, it's finds widgets. Okay. If we knew how many widgets we want to find, we could do finds n widgets and like a number. Oh, right. And this is generally a bad thing about when you're trying to test something and you have an asynchronous thing there, which we do. So we are emulating an API with this method or with this function, which is asynchronous, and it just waits for the network request for 500 milliseconds, right? And that is a problem for the widget testing framework because it kind of it wants to go frame by frame, and so it kind of stops everything and it waits until stuff happens, which is so. At least we now have like it doesn't. This went through, but after this test ended, it saw that there is still some asynchronous thing going on, and for this we could, I think we'll need to run async, which is something that I'll show you later. Probably I'll have to, but we might also just do tester pump and settle with like a duration of 500. I'm not sure if that's gonna wait, what? Oh, okay, duration milliseconds 500. Let's see. Right. Oh, okay. So we did. Wait. Would this work if we just pump and settled? Right. No, it wouldn't. So 500 it is. Now, what about like 1,000? So if you wait for a second, does it change anything? No. I was kind of hoping that this loads, but maybe yeah, we probably need to run it with the async, run async. Well, what can you do? So there's some magic involved in like trying to make everything very like almost not synchronous, but basically controlling time. You know, the widget testing framework kind of like stops everything, and even if you have a timer or if you have a future, it kind of like when you stop here, it will stop everything in your code and stuff like this, which again makes it hard for testing asynchronous code unless you do something like tester run async, and then this needs to be async callback, I think. Do we have that perform real synchronous work? This is intended for calls who need to call asynchronous methods where this method spawn isolates. Well, let's see. Finds one widget. Right. Oh, I'm looking at this. But actually, if I run it here, it's not gonna. So, Shift R. Right. I was looking at the output here, and but running here, it's all headless, so it wasn't showing. So let's see. Did I not need to do this? Ooh, maybe I didn't. Okay. Yeah. All right. So I'm kind of hard coding the 500 milliseconds, which is not great. But now you see, okay, so this is much better. Well, at least you found out about the coolness that is run async, and it is sometimes really needed. But in this case, it isn't, because again, the widget testing framework kind of wraps around all the future asynchronous calls and everything, and it will simulate them happening, even though it's not really happening. You know, I don't know if that makes any sense at all. So now what we are looking at is we are running our app. I wonder if we do this, will it actually pump and settle for that duration? No, yeah. See, so because we're overriding this, we can say, hey, you know what? I want to pump and settle for a lot longer than 500 milliseconds, like for 5,000 seconds, right? And you can still run it, and it will still run in, milliseconds, even though I think if we run it here, it will now actually wait for that long, right? Which is not what we want. So I think let's keep it with the 500 milliseconds, obviously, but right. Question: is it possible to handle platform-specific widgets in testing? Like in iOS, expect something different from Android. Yes. So you can override anything. So you can say like, hey, this app, well, you can wrap it and say this app is actually running on iOS, and now it will not as I said, like the widget testing framework by default, if you run it headless like this, it will not actually run on any OS, but you can definitely make it believe that it is running on some iOS or some operating system or other. I don't actually know how to do it from memory, but it shouldn't be hard, hopefully. All right, so thanks for the question. We are okay. So we are now. It's a smoke test. So we should be like doing something with the app, trying to, do something. And that what this app or this sample does is it allows you to scroll through a long list and see that things are loading as we scroll, right? So that's going to be maybe the hard part of this whole thing, where I try to remember how to make things scroll on this through the widget testing framework. What happens if I do this? There's a no widget found at offset. What? I am pretty sure I can see a widget. What? That's that doesn't sound right. Oh, is it because we are? Oh, we are. Right. And we're done with the actual test, so we can't. That's weird. Okay, this is better. So I had to click really fast, and I was able to single child stateful element. Sliver list. I wanted to also verify that these things are there, but maybe that's just, yeah, you know what? Let's just see. Okay, so there's no color number 1 first, and there's color number 1 later, and then we also should expect that these guys are no longer there, right? So that should work. Okay, and now the fun part, tester drag. So we need to drag on a widget to scroll down or up, right? Or fling is better. What else do we have? Location. We can input text. We could fling from an offset. I don't know. A test on binding, drag from long press. Start gesture. Right. So I think fling is what we want. We want to find by type, and that would be the sliver list or list view, right? And then the offset can be whatever, I think. What does it say about offset? If the middle of the widget is not exposed, this might send events to another. There's a fling gesture starting from the center of the given widget, moving the given distance, reaching the given speed. Right? So it's like, boom, like going from, we want to scroll down, so we need to fling up. Which means we want to do something like offset. Oh, there's a from. Ooh. But I think I just want to. So dx is 0 and dy is it minus 100? 200? And speed, I have no idea how much this should be. Let's see. And then 300, let's say. And then we should again see finds we can see widgets again that are not loaded, right? Let's see how that works here. Oh, nothing? What? Okay, so the following was thrown, you're running a test. You must use await. Yep. That's nice though. That was a good error message. I haven't seen that before. So let's do it again. Whoa, what? That's pretty slow, isn't it? Oh, a good question by testfail. Okay, the good question by Khaled is why is it square in the center? So why is this widget like this? So remember, the widget testing framework is for widgets, and this is just like a default size of what like the widget testing framework thinks an average widget might look like in terms of size, right? So like an app obviously is often either vertical or horizontal much more than this one, but like a normal widget like a button will probably have some area that is close to this, so it makes sense for it to kind of force that size. You can override this, and once again I don't remember exactly how that's done. I think you just do something to the tester, but what? I don't know what's happening. Tester. Yeah, I'm let's not go there, but you can tell it like how big it should be. Sometimes that's helpful, especially for like bigger widgets or smoke tests like this, where this size is completely like you'll never use the app in this size, and therefore some of the assumptions that you might have about the app are completely wrong. But in general, it's also a good thing that it kind of forces you to understand that this is a fluid layout, so you should not always imagine having the same kind of length and stuff like that. But yeah, this is what it looks like by default. You can override it and do whatever. Good question. I kind of like, I see this and I'm like, oh yeah, sure, this is what it looks like. But no, it shouldn't be. So all right, so I think this was like super slow. I guess I could do like a lot faster. I don't remember. I'm kind of experimenting now. What? Okay, so I need a lot faster now. I want to fling. Even more? Yes. Okay, so and I see what's happening now. It's wait. Let's do it again. So we are trying to find the 3 dots. They were there for a while, and then they were, you know, we actually loaded the other stuff. How do we do this? It's hard. Oh, maybe we just don't do that. Shift R for hot restart. Nope. Yeah, this is becoming really brittle. Like I'm basically playing with numbers here. Damn it. Ooh, maybe I should do something like 2000 here, and instead of oh, we're settling. Huh. So settle is basically it forces the forces this to go through. Wait, maybe I can do this. Settling is like it sees if there's anything still going on. Ooh, what? Oh, nice. Okay, so we passed the test, but then we have it back in the code. That's cool. But yeah, all right. So what we did before, we had the pump and settle sees if there is any kind of animation, including a flink like this one, and it will wait until that animation is settled. So until it completes. And so that's why it kind of went through the whole deal, including the loading. But here we're just like we flink fast enough, and then not settling anything. We just expect a widget to be there, and the other one to not be there. Well, actually, well, of course, this shouldn't be there. So yeah, let's put it there because we've scrolled past it, right? So finds no widget, finds nothing. And then I want to address this problem. We are notifying listeners, right, in fetch page. Fetch page. We are notifying listeners. Is there a way to figure out if we've been disposed? So change notifier, does it give us a way to find out if we're still alive? Okay, maybe not. Yeah, that would be the easiest way to just like see if. Ha. Okay, let's see if I don't think this will work, but has listeners. Let's see. Yeah, it doesn't work. So the issue is here now that we are like completely or just like killing the app right after the scroll event, that we still have this working fine, but we also want the catalog to not, after it's done with fetching, we are notifying listeners when that thing has been removed. Oh man, how do we... This is kind of... So here we don't have, we didn't find anything that's helpful. Here neither. Oh, we could actually cancel? Can we cancel this? Oh, okay. So we'll add a dispose method here. Yeah, that's better. And this is kind of bad, but it kind of makes sense. If after fetching a page we are already disposed, I mean, ideally we would just we could also cancel the actual call, but let's not go there. So this is gonna be bool is disposed, starts with false, and is disposed equals true, right? So we are we're saying this after the catalog is disposed, we don't allow it to call notify listeners. If not is disposed, this. Right, so all right, let's see if that fixes our issue. So Shift R, and we've passed the test. All right, so that was unexpectedly hard again, but all right, so let's summarize. We now have a test that will run the app. Like if you just run it from here, assuming there were more tests, that this would... Oh. Yeah, this is because again we have this problem. So it's like damn it. All right. After this we can tester pump and settle. All right. Is that gonna be better? All right. Takes quite a long time, but that's fine. All right, how about here? Or you know what? Let's just pump for 500 milliseconds. So all right, and see that yeah, yes. Okay, so here's the deal. Summary once again. We are just smoke testing this app. We are pumping the whole app, and then, which means that's what we give to the tester, and we first find out that there should be, at the very beginning of the app, there should be just ellipses here, and no like titles that says color 1 or any other. But you know, this is smoke testing, so you're basically just like verifying like very quickly, like, oh, is this kind of sane? Then we settle, pump and settle for 500 milliseconds, which is the duration of the loading. So let's actually loading duration is duration of milliseconds 500. So we're pump and settle for loading duration, and then here we're also doing that same thing. Can we just pump for that instead? Cool. Yes. How about here? So here, like, I'm kind of running this smoke test in 2 modes, right? One of them is here with Flutter run, which means it will actually render things, and some of the things are kind of different because it's actually like going through the asynchronicity that's there, and it will take the 1 second that it actually needs to take. On the other hand, here we are going completely headless by using this, and it can go way below the actual time that it takes to execute this, because it can say, oh, you know what, oh, there's nothing happening in this 100 milliseconds, so I'm just gonna skip that. Right, so it still takes its time, but all right, so we are testing that after some loading duration, we no longer see the the ellipsis. We do see the color number 1, and then we flink up, meaning that we scroll really fast in the downwards direction with some speed. Can we make it a smaller, lesser speed for? Right, too slow. Yeah, this is better. Because before it was like way too fast and it kind of looked weird. So we fling down, and we expect at least one widget with the ellipsis. The other one, I wonder if I just should like remove this. I think this is extra for something like this. And we should no longer see color number 1 because that's been scrolled away, right? And once again, this is a smoke test, so what we are mostly verifying is that this at least work kind of in the way that we expected. This will not catch things like, oh, like if there's just color number 1 and then the rest of the thing is a complete mess, then this smoke test will not see it. If if the rendering of the price formatting is all wrong, then this won't see it, right? But the thing is, this sample is simple enough, as it should, as all samples should be. It's simple enough that we should be able to go through it with no problem. we're not trying to unit test anything here. We're just trying to figure out if this even builds in a way that and runs in a way that kind of makes sense. So therefore, smoke testing. Smoke testing as a name comes from hardware testing, where the first kind of, on the assembly line, the first test that you would do is, if you have electronics, you just turn it on. If there's smoke coming out of the device, then obviously it's bad, so you just throw it away. So that kind of like, it's not even testing, it's just super quick way to look at something. All right, so yeah, I mean, I will again, I don't want to spend live streaming time with figuring out how to document things. I will add more comments here so that it's obvious what I'm trying to do with this. But I think I'm happy for what we have. Hello, Fausto. Hello to Brazil. I think I will now end the stream. I'm really sorry for being missing some of that. Well, I'm sorry for my internet connection, basically. And I will try to figure out how to make it better for the next time. And once again, I'm really thankful that you are watching and saying hi. Don't feel that you must just because it makes me feel good. That's not the point. My point is that that kind of the community survives, and people, hopefully other people are, I know that other people are live streaming as well, and we kind of each get invited to each other's bedrooms and stuff like this, and can be talking and answering questions and stuff. So thanks once again, and now I will end the live stream. And there's another question. Maybe we would put down color number without one, as we already scrolled away from the one position. That's true. It will try to match the text exactly. So we would need to go around this. We can still, find all the texts and find out if any of the texts have that. But like this will just see if there are widgets that are exactly that text. All right, that's enough from me. Thank you once again, and a bunch of red here, but let me end, and see you next week, hopefully. Cheers. Are you sure? Yes.